This route would extend the existing bus out west of Kedzie, where it normally turns around and heads back east again. It would be implemented as an experiment for 180 days. Staff would provide monthly reports to the board on ridership, and then appear before the board to give you a summary recommendation prior to the end of the 180-day or half-year experiment. This service would be operated 7 days a week from approximately 5 a.m. to 8 p.m. And is funded in part by a job access reverse commute grant that CTA was pleased to get back in 2008. The current ridership on the number 35 bus is about 5,500 people on a weekday, and about 3,600 on a Saturday and 2,500 on a Sunday. That's on the current 35th Street bus. This extension is expected to add more than 600 people for each of those day types, which is a significant ridership increase and would be considered to be successful if it were to reach that ridership goal. With that, I'll end the presentation, having just simply introduced the route to the board, and be glad to try to answer questions if the board has questions prior to hearing from the public.
So, Mike, why only 190-day extension? How did you come up with
the 180-day extension experiment is as outlined in the service standards. It's intended to provide a deliberate review process for any new service that's put in place. So rather than the staff coming to the board and saying, let's begin a new service or let's make a change to service, the idea is that it automatically becomes an experiment for the first 6 months. During that period, it can be studied, and then the information brought back to the board, and it guarantees a review at 6 months. The board would have the option of extending the experimental period potentially for another 6 months. That's been done in the past, or ending the experiment if it is not going very well, or altering the route in a different way after the first 6 months, changing the hours, changing the geographic coverage, or whatever tweaks that the staff or that the board would like to entertain.
Do we expect information from the experiment to tell us anything about potential ridership or demand on the eastern, further east of 31st?
We can keep an eye on what the ridership on the 35th Street east portion is and see if that goes up as well. If we're getting distribution across from west to east on this. But I think the experiment certainly won't give us a lot of information about what would happen on the east side of 31st Street.
Mike, do you have the ridership figures for the 31st Street bus before we discontinue it?
Yes, before discontinuation of this route, which happened back in 1997, the ridership was 160 people a day on the west end and 200 a day on the east end, total ridership for the day. That was the average of all the day types that were operating, weekday, Saturday, and Sunday. It was relatively low. It was actually two different routes. Back when it was in operation, the east side was served by a different route than the west side. And the reason is that in the center of this route, between Western and Ashland, along 31st Street, the route is totally impassable. You come to Western, and what you have to do is cross Western, then cross the Chicago River, cross 8 railroad tracks, skirt a railroad yard, cross another set of railroad tracks, cross I-55, and then cross the Orange Line viaduct. Then you would have to cross Budley Creek and Ashland Avenue and get back to 31st Street. So there's a gap in the middle of 31st Street. Back in 97, it was operated as two different routes. That's why there's two different ridership numbers.
I understand this was originally going to be on the agenda for September and got pushed up to this meeting. Can you explain a little more before that happened?
We would like to put this into place in time for the start of school. In order to do this, we would need to take action at this August board meeting. The work picks for the bus operators are only done quarterly, and they're actually specified in the union agreement the months in which those picks happen. So if we weren't to get approval and go forward now, the next time would be to start this service in the middle of December. So the idea is to try to get it in place here for right after Labor Day when school starts.
Mike, the finish of my question about the prior